Please stand by. You will now be placed into conference. This conference is being recorded.
And revolves around the core values that we bring to the business of IT, the impact we have on IT data quality, and the ability to deliver current, complete, and accurate data to the business of IT. The inability to control what is referred to as dirty data is costing the U.S. economy right now over $3 trillion, that's with a T, dollars per year, with the average mid-sized company losing millions per year, actually 13 million specifically. In today's webinar, we'll cover how foundational data can be used in ITSM to ensure quality and drive productivity in critical areas of IT such as CMDB, security, risk, operations, billing, consumption management, or development of an IT baseline. Understanding what you have, where you have it, what it connects to, and its impact are the base level information we provide our customers. So one quick housekeeping item. If you'd like to ask a question, please enter your question in the QA window on your screen, and then we'll pile them up and address them at the end of the presentation. So now I'd like to go ahead and introduce our first speaker, Mike Porco from Pacific Life Insurance. Mike is an applications development manager for Pacific Life's corporate division, where he is responsible for the organization's ITSM platform, identity and access management solutions, and the application lifecycle management framework. He serves as the service, asset, and configuration management process owner, where he is responsible for policy and process definition, as well as setting technical direction. Mike has led several ITSM-focused initiatives during his 9 years with Pacific Life, most recently working to improve the quality of data present in the company's configuration management database. Mike has an MBA from the University of California, Irvine, and a BS in computer science from California State University in Long Beach. So, Mike, I will go ahead and pass this to you now.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate the introduction. As Dan stated, I work for Pacific Life Insurance, and today we're going to talk to you a little bit about our journey to a quality CMDB. So first things first, just a real brief introduction to Pacific Life as a company. Pacific Life is a financial services company. We've been offering insurance since 1868. We offer other investment products as well, such as annuities, mutual funds. We're 387th on the Fortune 500 list. We have $137 billion in assets, $7.7 billion in revenue this past year. We've got roughly 3,000 employees worldwide. Our home base is in Newport Beach, California. The Pacific Life Foundation has also donated around $84 million in the past 30 years. Corporate IT, where I work, our mission is to deliver technology services and solutions that enable the company to meet its goals. So now we'll jump into our IT service management environment at Pacific Life. So Pacific Life, we were pretty early adopters of the ServiceNow platform. We've been on the platform since 2009. We're currently on the latest and greatest version, Fuji. We have a very robust implementation. We use a lot of different applications and modules that are available to us, ranging from your typical ITSM applications, incident, problem, change. We also have a service catalog, configuration management database. We recently rolled out the project and portfolio management suite, and have tools such as discovery and use the SDLC module to help us with our software development lifecycle. We've also leveraged ServiceNow as a platform to build custom applications. We've got things ranging from time card applications to telephone work orders, and we integrate with a number of different downstream systems. There's a couple here that are examples: CA Spectrum, which is a monitoring tool, Microsoft System Center Orchestrator, which we use for automated server builds, and Splunk. So you might be wondering, how big is the team that supports and develops all this? Well, we have about 2.5 developers / admins. We have a dedicated BA / QA resource, and we have a couple of process leads that help us with process design, efficiency gains on a lot of the different ITSM applications. And we also, from time to time, need to pull from, we have a partner that has a virtual admin offering, and when our backlog reaches a certain size, we use them to also help with development activities and then put those items through our normal SDLC process. So that's our IT service management environment at Pacific Life. So I'm sure, like many of you on the call, we've had our challenges with CMDB initiatives and implementations. Our first CMDB implementation was actually done on a different platform. It was the BMC Remedy platform, and we migrated again to ServiceNow about five plus years ago. And I think one of the key challenges there was that we tried to do too much all in one initiative. We were also limited in terms of our automated sources. We were using a single discovery source. So in the past, it was a BMC product. With our original implementation in ServiceNow, it was ServiceNow Discovery. And Discovery has its own challenges, right? You have problems reaching all of your devices. You need to know about all your IP subnets. You need to have the appropriate firewall rules in place, the proper credentials. So we were running into those typical challenges. It was really hard also to improve the quality of data in the CMDB manually because we didn't have a lot of buy-in from the different areas, right? If the data is inherently inaccurate or missing, people aren't going to trust it. They're going to continue to maintain their information in their own silos and spreadsheets and access databases and the like. We didn't really have any automation around improving the CMDB data quality outside of our discovery sources. Reconciliation between what we had in the CMDB and downstream systems was labor-intensive, manual. In a lot of cases, didn't happen. And then also if we couldn't discover it, we didn't know about it, right? So we had an inability to find active assets that weren't already in our system or detectable through discovery. And then that also impacted downstream, ITIL processes, such as incident and change, where you want to be able to associate, problem CIs, et cetera. And we were unable to validate the existing data, right? So just because we have data in the system, we didn't necessarily know that it was good or accurate. So those are a lot of the challenges that we had prior to our Blazent implementation with ServiceNow. So we decided with this last iteration to take a new approach, right? We wanted to concentrate on the foundational aspects of the CMDB. We wanted to have a bulletproof device inventory. We wanted to make sure that the attribute information that we were collecting was valuable not only to us in the ITSM space, but also to the downstream areas and departments. We also, we came to the realization that we have a lot of management systems. We have a lot of data, a lot of good data, so why weren't we leveraging it? So we made the decision that we're going to take these embedded management systems and we were going to use them to augment the CMDB data rather than just relying on our single discovery source. And we also decided that, one of the big issues was that we were trying to boil the ocean, right? Let's take an iterative approach. Let's get our inventory. Let's get our foundation built. We'll show the value. We'll get buy-in and trust. And then we'll add features. And we'll add the features that people really want, not the ones we think they want. We also realized that maintenance, by just an IT service management team wasn't probably the right approach. We wanted to engage tool and CI owners in the process, sharing the responsibility. They have skin in the game. Once you are able to capture their requirements and provide the right types of data, they're eager and willing to do so. And then the other piece was really wrapping a policy and some supporting procedures around it and integrating them with our other existing processes. We hadn't really done that. I mean, we had tangential touch points with incident and change, but really building a policy and procedures that interlink these processes was important to our approach. So why did we choose Blazent? Well, for one thing, Blazent really married up with our idea of building a foundation, and the Blazent solution we saw is really foundational to data quality. It wasn't going to take a tremendous amount of effort to get the data that we already had in the enterprise and make it usable, right? We were able to easily leverage existing management systems and electronic data sources to improve the quality and the completeness, and the key was that it was done in an automated way. And so for us, this was really the key differentiator between Blazent and some of the other solutions that we saw out there. We've already talked a little bit about the commitment that we've made to ServiceNow as a platform and all the different things that we do in it. So a tight integration with that solution was very compelling for us. We want folks to be able to continue to work in a tool and with a tool that they were already familiar with, and not have them to necessarily have to interface with another application if they didn't have to. We considered, a lot of times I think Blazent is compared to BDNA, and for us, we saw BDNA as more of a software title normalization tool. That wasn't really our objective at this point. Again, our objective was really building a foundation, building that strong inventory, having data quality. Also for us, one of the reasons we talked about previously, we were on Remedy and moved to ServiceNow. Well, one of those reasons was around upgrades and the fact that SaaS applications are generally easier to upgrade. We didn't have to maintain the infrastructure, do any performance tuning, anything like that. Blazent does all that for us. And we didn't necessarily know how much time we were spending on doing those things for on-premise solutions until you move to a SaaS application. So for us, when we moved in this direction, we knew that we wanted to continue to have something that wasn't maintained by us internally as far as the platform was concerned. And we've already done one upgrade, and it was transparent and pretty easy to do. The other piece was that Blazent makes available a lot of their roadmaps and the future capabilities that they're working on. And there's a lot of exciting things there. And we felt like we were at a point where if we could get the data quality right and build that foundation, that we can continue to grow along with Blazent's product offerings. So we could kind of mature together in that way. I think the next slide is going to be a little bit of a diagram in terms of what our solution looks like. I think sort of the key here is, I don't know, maybe you guys could identify with some of the data sources that we're using, but here on the left-hand side, you'll see some of the management systems or electronic data sources that we're using today. So we have Active Directory, which really helps us with servers, vCenter, which helps us with servers as well, VitalNet and eHealth, which are monitoring systems, HP SIM and HP IMC, one for server hardware, the other for network device configuration. And there's another CA tool, CA Spectrum, which helps us, again, with network devices. And then SCCM, which is a Microsoft product, helping us a lot with servers, but also with desktops, laptops, etc. And then also we have Net Backup. And then you'll see sort of off to the right there, the 9th data source being ServiceNow itself and its discovery. So what we do is we take feeds from these systems, we produce files that we then FTP to the Blazent, and that's where a lot of the Blazent engine sort of takes over as far as its rule-based reconciliation. So we will then see, a lot of the issues get pushed back down, or the reconciled mismatches get pushed back down into the ServiceNow CMDB. A lot of those things happen automatically in terms of the reconciliation, but there's also things if you feel less comfortable about wanting them to happen automatically, you have the ability to reconcile those a little bit in a more manual fashion by pushing issues into ServiceNow that are kind of work the way that incidents or something else would be. You can really take a closer look at the data and what's being asked of you, make a decision there, and then automatically update your CMDB as well. And we're actually looking to, since this has gone as well as it has, we're looking to add some additional data sources, and we'll probably be talking about Splunk and Semantic MSSP in the future, and those are really wrapped around some security initiatives that we have coming up. Now we'll talk about the impact that Blazent has had at Pacific Life. So you'll see some pretty impressive numbers there in those 3 colored circles. The first 2 are really about missing or incorrect data. I think everybody kind of gets that, right? If there's missing values, well, let's go ahead and push them into our CMDB. Or if there's conflicts, let's look at them and resolve them. But I think the one that kind of gets lost in the sauce, if you will, is the orange one, right? The continuing to validate the correctness of the data every week is really key. It's not just about, just because you're not seeing issues or missing values, to know that the correctness of the data being maintained and looked at continuously is really is a huge deal. The other piece, and we talked a little bit about the tight integration with ServiceNow, but the fact that Blazent pulls in your reference tables and your choice lists from ServiceNow, it's really the key to data integrity, right? If you're not matching your manufacturers or your models or your OSs, you're going to get really skewed data that you can't report on, and your CMDB is going to be a bit of a mess. So the fact that that integration exists and that that data is normalized is really key. We're also able to capture a number of non-discoverable values in our CMDB by using these management systems where information is maintained manually. So we have things like patch collection, what support group they belong to. Now, these things you can't send a discovery tool out there and find out about them, but if there is a management system that is sort of the source, you can automatically push that into your CMDB using the Blazent platform. Again, now that we have these foundational aspects in place and people start to trust the data, we've been able to sort of farm out the data quality responsibility. It's distributed amongst CI owners. And what I mean by that is, you know, the client systems team has some skin in the game in terms of maintaining your desktops and laptops, smartphone, tablet devices. Same thing with the server and the network teams. And they can do that in ServiceNow, and we've also made some of the Blazent analytics available to them to be able to work through some of the issues as well. And the fact that it is in ServiceNow, it just shows that data conflict resolution is seen as a logical extension of the work they're doing today. It's almost like we're not asking them to do more. It's just they're getting additional issues to work in ServiceNow. So that's been a pretty interesting thing for us as well. And there is some functionality inside of ServiceNow/Blazent based on the integration that allows you to really dig in, right? If you're looking at a CI, you have the ability to look at this multi-source view. So I talked about all the different sources we get information from. If somebody's in there and they're looking at a server and they think that the attribute information that you have in there isn't quite right, they have this ability to kind of punch out the Blazent and look at what the other source systems are saying about it. So there's really, for us, it eliminated that conversation about, well, where'd you get this value? And we can't trust this system. They could see that it was coming from their management system or another management system. And if you know, things weren't going quite right, we could reconcile that. Another thing that Blazent has really done is helped us improve our discovery quality. So we've used the floodlight technology to be able to push configuration items into our CMDB that didn't already exist. We don't really just stop there. We said, well, why didn't we know about this CI? Well, maybe we weren't discovering that IP segment. So it kind of goes both directions. We can now improve our discovery, which in turn helps us improve our CMDB quality by leveraging this tool. You know, the thing that I really want folks to take away from the impact that Blazent has had on Pacific Life is that we've spent a lot of time talking about the foundation. Well, now we have the foundation, and I think the next slide is about what are we going to do in the future potentially with our CMDB and how will Blazent potentially help us in that area. But without the foundation, I think we would just be on another CMDB initiative. Let's talk a little bit about the future. So like I said, building the foundation and data quality was really only the beginning for us. We have plans to do application dependency mapping and service modeling. Those are key future capabilities. Some of the other things that we want to be able to do with dependency mapping and service modeling is more targeted communications to stakeholders when applications or systems are impacted. I don't know about the folks on the phone, but I know for us we do a lot of shotgun type communication. Right? We over communicate because we don't want to miss anybody because we don't really understand the impact. But that that builds a little bit of folks becoming desensitized to communications and maybe missing the ones that they should be paying attention to. And also, engineers understand the impact of a change, right? So if they can see how a CI helps provide a service and what might be impacted by them touching it or taking it down or patching it. I think that's valuable information for folks to have. So those are some of the things that we're working towards. The big thing too is that, as teams started to trust the data, we were able to engage more across the organization. It's almost like an ecosystem, if you will, because now we have these tool owners, and it's not just about the CMDB, but it's about the quality of data that's in their management systems or their source systems, right? Are they backing up everything that they need to be backing up? Are they patching everything that they need to patch? They can sort of see it in both directions. It's not just an ITSM tool. It really helps them do a better job of what their responsibilities are. And now we're starting to get additional organizations within the company, like our business continuity office wanted to use this for DR exercises because, hey, the data's good. We have an application inventory. We have all of our servers and network here. I mentioned a little bit earlier that, so now it's less about us going and marketing the system. It's about folks coming to us with requirements that they want to see, which is a little bit of a change for us. I don't know if you guys have also had to do, most of that communication being in the direction where you're trying to go out to find people to use the CMDB. But like I said, the operations teams want to make sure that they have proper tool coverage. So we're looking at Blazent's OSFlare to do that. And we've also had our finance team who has a software license adherence program going on right now to help with asset management, our software and hardware entitlements, making sure that we're in compliance there. And we're looking at the SACM and SoftShock products from Blazent. I think that's really my last slide, but I just wanted to reinforce the point that I don't think we could really be talking about the future of what we want to do with the CMDB without first building on that foundation and the data quality. So I know I may have said that a few times, but for us it's been a bit of a boon. So I think, Dan, that is my my last slide. So I'm going to go ahead and fire through that pretty good, but I'm going to go ahead and hand it back over to you.
Okay, thank you, Mike. That was great. So now I'd like to go ahead and bring in our second speaker, Michael Ludwig. Michael, as a quick preface, brings 30 years of IT leadership experience to Blazent. He has held executive-level operations, service management, and software development roles in several industry verticals, including telecom, aerospace, defense, and education. As Blazent's chief product architect, he is driven by providing forward-looking products to solve real-world customer problems, as, for example, what Mike just walked through. Michael is a graduate from Michigan State University and still maintains very strong ties to his alma mater, as well as a belief in lifelong learning. So, Michael, with that, I'll go ahead and pass it to you.
Thank you, Dan. Before I start, I just want to congratulate Mike Porco and his team on the wonderful foundation that they've put in place for Pacific Life, and look forward to continuing the partnership and reaching out and achieving those new goals that you've set forth. So as I begin, although the things that we do are actually quite sophisticated from a data processing standpoint, our philosophy is really quite simple. It's kind of like baseball in the sense that in baseball, you can't hit what you can't see. And in the various organizations that make up technology management, you can't manage what you can't see. Intelligent business and IT decisions both start with visibility. And so in the service management area, in the infrastructure and operations management area, and all of the downstream functions that lie from there, it's really important to have visibility. It's the most important aspect. And that visibility starts with a new processing engine that we've just delivered. And what we've done is we've brought together the best of breed big data technologies in an effort to really bring the same type of validated data that we're bringing to our customers today, but to move it to a much more near-time platform. And so we've spent the last 2 years designing and bringing forth this new platform. We've just recently launched it. We went out and got some of the best data scientists in the world to work on our algorithms that we use as scoring mechanisms to validate data, consolidate the data, and give you a purified form of what is the closest reality in truth to the data that you own. And that's all packaged up for you in the value of a SaaS offering. As Mike mentioned earlier, his organization truly understood the value of what a SaaS offering can bring when they moved to ServiceNow, and then they looked for that when they looked to Blazent to come in afterwards. And that value is represented in not having to code, not having to support any of the technology, everything already being built and lying in wait for you, and all you need to do is pump your data through. So how do we do what we do? Well, Mike had a good diagram of how we're doing the things that we're doing with Pac Life in his environment. And down at the bottom of this diagram is just a sampling of some of the types of data sources that exist within an environment that we bring in. Some of our larger customers are bringing in upwards of 60 different data sources into Blazent. And then we use a very sophisticated set of mathematical algorithms to organize that data, to validate that data, and then they populate analytics that sit on top of our solution to give you visibility across a number of different areas within IT itself. Of course, Mike specifically spoke about ITSM today, but we also offer visibility into operational risk, infrastructure management. We have some visibility into security, as well as software audit and software inventory installation, those kinds of things. We've been really, really fortunate to get some really good press around our latest release, but to be honest with you, press isn't the most important thing to us. We're a very, very customer-driven organization, and our own customers' success is really how we measure our achievement. And so Mike's words that he spoke about Blazent and the way that we feel about our relationship with Pac Life is the type of relationship that we like to have with all of our customers, and it's really what brings the pride into our organization. And we'd like to thank you very much for participating in this. I know, Dan, you have some closing comments?
Actually, we have a couple of questions.
Oh, great.
So, wanted to roll the first one out. The first one is, did Pacific Life require a comprehensive cost-benefit analysis before they could purchase the solution? And that will be to Mike Porco.
The short answer is no. I think that we've, for a long time, known what a solid CMDB could do for us. We just haven't been able to get to the point where we're actually able to produce the type of product that would actually bear fruit. You know, we've had, like a lot of shops, I'm sure, that, you know, have changes that turn into incidents or outages where we don't have, you know, the proper inventories maybe to understand how to rebuild systems. So, you know, we recently had a few different events that sort of helped drive that for us. So we didn't really have a, you know, your typical cost-benefit analysis per se in terms of dollars, but I think that we knew what having a, we spent a long time, a number of years, understanding what a CMDB really could do for us. And once, you know, we had the right people in the room and took a look at the product, it was compelling, and we moved forward with it.
Okay, thank you. Second question, what was the total elapsed time from contract signing to where you are now?
It's been about a year, so we've, and that's not how long it took to implement it, but we have been using it for a number of months to clean up the solution. And again, I don't think anybody thinks that, you know, you have a CMDB initiative and then you're done. But yeah, I mean, the contract piece of it and getting the instances, you know, spun up and integrated, you know, that's probably only a 2 or 3 month thing for us. And you know, we were going a little bit slow in the beginning, but we've probably been using it for a good, you know, 7-8 months now, you know, in our production environment, and gotten to the point where we feel really good about our inventory.
Okay, cool. And then last question, how often do you report back to executive management, and how has the availability of this information affected the dialogue?
So we have a quarterly forum around just IT service management in general, and this is one of the topics that comes up. And I think the ability to really, we can show, you know, we can show those numbers like we showed on the slides, but I think the biggest thing for them has been sort of the way people are talking about the CMDB, the way that we're talking about leveraging it. It's very interesting when we talk about the projects that we have that are coming up. you know, a very high percentage of them will be like, well, we want to rely on this information, or we'd like to enhance the CMDB in a particular way so that we could leverage it. So I think for the executives, or at least the senior leadership team here in corporate IT, that's more compelling than, you know, sort of the numbers in terms of how many, you know, attribute reconciliations or how many CIs that we've pushed into the CMDB. So I hope that makes sense and answers your question.
Yeah, I think it did. So that's it as far as the questions that we have. So let me just make a quick closing comment. You know, what we're finding is that IT is routinely making multi-million-dollar decisions based on effectively incomplete and inaccurate data, right? So Blazent focuses, we've helped some of the largest companies in the world across a very broad range of industries. Our offering is unique. It delivers the most complete, current, and contextual view of IT data. And so what Mike Porco has walked you through is a great example of that. So we encourage you to visit our website. For further information, the website is there. If you would like an immediate response, please send us an email to sales@blazent.com. So for those who have attended, thank you very much for your time and interest, and we hope to hear from you soon. I think that's it. And thank you, Mike Porco, for your insights. Thank you, Michael Ludwig, for walking us through. I think it's been very great, very useful webinar. Thank you all.
The chairperson has disconnected. The conference will now end.